What's up, kids? It's Tricky. So, about that address. Personally, I'm pretty pleased. We didn't get a state of emergency. Government's still shut down, and we're going to get a wall. Or a fence, whatever. It doesn't matter. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. The wall itself does not actually matter. It's just a symbol, and it's about keeping the border secure. Now, I'm just going to go down a bunch of lists that I took, or I'm going to go down a list of notes, rather, that I took. Sorry, Freudian slip. During the address there, and we'll see what we can talk about here. So, one of the first points the president makes is that among the hardest hit by illegal immigration are African Americans and Hispanic Americans. That's an interesting point, because that is where crime tends to congregate. Well, on either side of the spectrum. Now, one side wants to say it's because of the military-industrial complex. One side wants to say it's because one people is inherently more criminal than other people. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is we've got a statistic that points to a specific place, and this actually factors in. So if we can cut down on illegal immigration, we can cut down on a crime rate. That's helpful. So he said something about fentanyl coming across the border and heroin. I don't know that that's necessarily true. As far as my understanding goes, most of the fentanyl on the market today comes from China and ends up in heroin somehow, but I'm not entirely certain, so, you know, whatever. Cocaine, however, big yes, that's coming across the southern border. I think we all know that. Escobar, the cartels, all of that sort of thing. That's because of the United States trade on cocaine. So a lot of people might say that we owe it to South America and Central America to fix our shit and thereby their shit for them. Personally, I think that's somewhat of a good idea. It's just that how do we go about doing that? Do we send our army down to South America, Central America to take everything over, kick the cartels out, and then drop a McDonald's and a Starbucks on every street corner? I don't think anybody wants that. I don't think anybody wants that. That didn't work out very well in the Middle East, and it won't work out very well in Central and South America. There's no reason to do that. So what you have to do is encourage their own growth without intervening in their government. Best way to do that, legalize drugs in the United States and close the border off. It's pretty simple, but, you know, that's a little radical. Nobody wants to do that. Pardon me, I've been chugging coffee. He said something about more have died in the process of border security than in Vietnam. I'm not sure where he got those numbers, and I'm honestly kind of curious. I don't know that that's true. I wouldn't get behind that very hard. He did, however, state that more than 20,000 children have been trafficked over the southern border by coyotes and various other organizations. That's true. That's demonstrable, and that's horrific. That is some of the worst side of the illegal immigration problem that exists today. And part of the reason that, well, most of the reason that everybody gets so up in arms, it's obviously because there's children involved. You see all over CNN pictures of women and children. Nobody wants these kids to be hurt because of political unrest. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted over the border during the border crossing. Women and children are the hardest hit by illegal immigration. That was a fact. That's certain. He said something about cutting edge drug detection. That could be anything. That could be a guard dog with a laser beam on its head. You don't know. It doesn't matter. That was nonsense. I wrote down Trump unhealthy. I seem to notice that he was a little hoarse in this video. I don't know if in this address rather. I don't know what exactly that's about, but maybe he's just got a cold or something, but I'm sure that will factor in somewhere in some sort of BuzzFeed report soon enough. He has approved humanitarian medical support and a steel barrier with $5.7 million. Yes. He implies that it's going to be paid for from the trade deal that we have made with Mexico. He tries to imply that Mexico is going to pay for it. That remains to be seen. Until we see documents that say Mexico bill $5.7 billion wall, I wouldn't buy it. Just don't buy it. And personally, I would have gotten behind him for the we're going to have a wall. I'm all there. Yeah, dude, absolutely. And Mexico's going to pay for it. What? No, I wasn't. I don't think many people were actually behind the whole, like, oh, Mexico's going to pay for the wall. No, dude, maybe your boomer dad was, but not anyone with a brain. So it seems that he wants to pose it like there's nothing the Democrats can do, and that the wall is about to happen regardless because of the requests from Border Patrol. He cites, interestingly enough, I think he's going to be catching a lot of hell in the next couple days for citing the death of Officer Singh in Southern California rather than the young boy who died on the border on Christmas Day. I mean, I would have talked about both personally to try and avoid that, but I'm not the president. I think he's going to be in a lot of hot water for that one. And secondly, one thing I do want to point out: how much more American blood must we shed? Notice the verbiage there. Had he said how much more blood must we shed, he would have avoided the following implication. That statement, American blood, that's the nationalism that won him the primaries. That's what got him to where he is now. That's that civic stuff that galvanized everyone towards him. That's that little sentiment that everybody's afraid of at the moment. That's the thing that gets scary. That's the thing that gets tyrannical and imperial when you let it get out of hand. Personally, I don't think that it always does. I think that it's something you can cultivate safely. But that's a whole other discussion. And we're 6.5 minutes in as it is. So enjoy your nights, folks. Stay frosty. It's tricky.